Hello, everyone. Please take a seat. We'll continue. The next discussion, Ukraine after the war, reconstruction through fintech and digital services. Let me introduce the speaker, Rostyslav Dyuk, chairman of the board of the Ukrainian Association of Fintech and Innovative Companies. Illya Muchnyk, partner at Kinstellar, and you have an opening speech for us, I believe. Perfect. And Jacek Figula from Poland. Great to have you here as well. I would like to thank our main partners, the Ministry of Finance of the Slovak Republic, National Bank of Slovakia, and Visa. And a special thanks to our conference partners, Slovak Travel, Embassy of Poland in Bratislava, CRIF, Slovak Credit Bureau, DECTA, Golden Gate, Blick, DevOps Group, Fumbi, Bratislava Stock Exchange, TPA Slovensko, Prosper and Pavlovich, University of Economics in Bratislava, and Matej Bell University in Banska Bystrica. And also thanks to our AI stream partner, TechMates, and our official networking partner, Diia. And a big thanks to all our supporters and media partners. So please, I would like to introduce our speaker. Yeah, Illya Muchnyk. I want to make sure I read your name correctly. Would you like to sit down and speak, or would you prefer to stand? Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Illya Muchnyk. I'm partner with Kinstellar law firm, and I head in fintech in our 12 countries where we work, from Austria to the east and in Ukraine, of course. My job is to bring fintechs bankable and legal from day one in our countries. So for resume, my point is very simple. Fintech can speed up Ukraine reconstruction, having already created tremendous opportunity right now, not waiting until the reconstruction of the war. So one of my focuses here is to show what is already there in Ukraine and how we see the opportunities for the reconstruction, and even now not waiting for the end of the war. So what is already there? It is really important to recognize that the fintech base of Ukraine is very strong. It's much stronger than in many of the neighboring countries. So just use it. And here I would like to make some concrete examples so we see what's already happening. This is digital industry. It's very efficient during the war. It cannot be bombed or destroyed physically. So it's already there and creates, as I mentioned, quite a number of opportunities. For example, we have Diia. This is the government super app. It unites more than 20 million people, more than half of the population of Ukraine. It has more than 150 digital services online and more than 35 digital documents available there. So you have there all the identity documents like driving license, passports, birth certificates, all the documents for your cars, etc. And it provides the bridge for the banks and fintech for the identity verification and know your client. So it's already eliminates this important step, how you would identify people for your know your client purposes. It's just already there, and states take care of that. There are also the base for various programs like e-recovery program for the housing, where we have, as you know, unfortunately, quite a number of houses destroyed by the Russian missiles and bombs, and the state already supported more than 100,000 people by this program with the real payouts. We have neobanks. One of the examples is Monobank with 1 million customers, 1 million active cards, recently became the unicorn according to concrete transactions that happens. And the technology is state of the art. It cannot be compared with many of the competition in other countries. State-owned private bank and LickPay, its own acquiring system. Ukrainians paid 18 billion euro for goods and services by only this bank's acquiring services in this year alone, and 1.5 billion euro for online acquiring. And the bank, it's up to privatization as rumored by the state. So this is concrete opportunity for foreign investors already now. In 2024, Ukrainian payment system processed more than 1 billion transactions with 27 billion euro volume. This is happening right now during the war. This is not a fancy reconstruction that is upcoming. The cashless data. We, in 2028, 8 billion cashless transactions, and 95 of them of all card transactions are cashless. We have a donation system, United 24. The government held a donation platform, attracted more than $3 billion from abroad by way of donations in cash, in crypto, by way of other means. We have Diia City. This is special tax and legal regime for fintech and tech companies that provides for easy registration, reporting, special tools for employment of personnel, etc. And it paid already this year alone 400 million euro in taxes, and it unites 2,500 of residents. We have transparent public spend, although all these allegations of corruption, which is usually like to be used by Russian propaganda. We have Prozora system, which is a government tech powered by digital payment and marketplace platform. So the competitive online procurement in 2024 reaches 17 billion euro only on that platform. So that shows that the strength of Ukraine fintech sector. Retail works pretty much perfect, and there are some potential for the development in corporates. So what can be done? I try to focus on some concrete mechanisms, not on the discussion of some fancy platforms or discussions of the bright future, but what can be done right now. First one is funds. There are dozens of new and existing funds focused on Ukraine that are in the process of establishment, and bringing the limited partners, development finance institutions, corporates as investors is a big opportunity. As being investor to the fund, you don't have to go on the ground to pick up concrete investments, but just invest into the platform and have your return ready. And we already supported the first institutional fund, venture capital fund, registered in Ukraine, sponsored by European Investment Bank, French BPI, Proparca. It's called Phoenix Fund. It's already operational. And the next step is the special platform within Diia City for establishment of small-scale venture funds within Ukraine, which provides additional opportunities for the indirect investments. Now, next is corporate participation. Direct investment, everything which relates to the payment infrastructure for future reconstruction and current work as well. We already have several large investors coming. We personally supported acquisition of one of the largest payment provider by Kaspi, the London Stock Exchange listed regional bank, and the other during the war, again, not waiting until the reconstruction or end of the war. It's happening right now. Another transaction where the other regional London Stock Exchange listed bank acquired payment services provider and payment operator in Ukraine. Joint ventures. It's not easy to go on your own. It's important to partner up with local participants, and most of the neobanks are made as a joint venture. Monobank that I mentioned, the unicorn, it is the product of joint venture between Fintech and normal bank. And actually, the other angle, which is not usual, it's from Ukraine abroad. There are a lot of exported know-how, like this neobank, where you could extrapolate Ukrainian experience. And we are now working, for example, with the owners of the neobank, which established the service provider to replicate neobank across the world, to establish neobank in Uzbekistan, using Ukraine's experience. And that quite concrete example as well as in monetary term, the neobank within the bank is valued several times higher than the host bank itself. This is quite an opportunity as well. And finally, crypto. Ukraine is top 10 in crypto adoption in the world right now and used to be number 1. That may create additional angle for the reconstruction money to flow by way of tokenization of assets and also using stable coins. And there is potential for the investment in this infrastructure as well. So to wrap up, let me be direct. People are pragmatic, world is pragmatic, everyone wants to do business, everyone wants to make money, and there are not many here for philanthropic purposes. We are totally aware and understand that. So the biggest opportunity in Ukraine are even now, not waiting until the end of the war. They are in payment infrastructure for recovery and generally by way of direct investment, joint ventures and funds. So that will be the real way of making meaningful impact and not just creating the fancy platforms and discussions of some bright future. So finally, my point is that the biggest advantage of Ukraine fintech sector and the positive thing of it is that the opportunities are already there. Not waiting until the end of the war, not waiting until the infrastructure, not waiting until the reconstruction would happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Illya, for that foundation. I will let the other two panelists introduce themselves in a minute and give them a little bit of information about who you are and what you do and what you think about Ukraine and reconstruction even before the war is finished.
Okay, just to be logical, I'll start after Illya. My name is Rostyslav Dyuk, and I'm chairman of the board of Ukrainian Association of Fintech and Innovation Company. So first of all, I want to say big thank you for people of Slovensky Republic to support Ukraine in these tough times in the war of Russia. So thank you very much. Back to opportunities that reconstruction of Ukraine give, and maybe it's the right time to start. So we'll just start this topic. I want to be more maybe concrete from the point of association. So Ukrainian Association is the one association that have all these players like startups, fintech providers, and bank inside the Ukraine and help this ecosystem grow. We in good collaboration with all European Fintech Association, and I'm here because we have long story of collaboration with David Saiko and potential that they start growing here like Fintech value here in the Slovensky Republic and how we can collaborate with Sandbox and other opportunities that these times give to us. So I think that Ukraine reconstruction, it is two-way roads. So Ukraine is still pretty big country in terms of population in Europe. So the war will finish, or even if it's not finished, people still spend money, use financial services, and try to live their lives even after this drone and rocket attacks. So it's still the potential market for your companies to enter Ukraine if you want to grow outside the EU or grow outside the Slovensky Republic. And under this collaboration that we have with Finweek and David, so we discussed that we will help build this bridge. If your company want to enter Ukraine, we will give full support as association to find your partner in Ukraine and have some advice how you can scale your business in Ukraine. It's like one side, another side. We'll be happy to bring Ukrainian fintechs to find the right matchmaking and collaboration in your country, because Ukrainian company want to go. So 50% of Ukrainian fintechs are thinking to expand their services abroad for many reasons, but due to the war, and we also believe that fintech is like global story. So we even say that fintech speak two languages, English and Python. So I think you maybe have the same examples. And if you're interested to collaboration with Ukrainian fintechs, we'll be happy also to help to do this, especially so Europe have more than 5 million Ukrainian migrants that due to the war stay in EU, but it's also potential market. And if you're a licensed business, you have a MII license or whatever, we have fintechs that are ready to collaborate, that they know these customers, and you can do some joint business. So it's like 3 layers of potential collaboration. Third one is when we speak about the reconstruction of Ukraine, so estimation is at the moment like 500 billion euros, and it's abnormal money for Ukraine. So Ukraine never can eat such big investments. So it means that we will need strong collaboration with EU partners to help us to do this reconstruction. And I'm here just to invite you to Ukraine, start to observe this market and bring your technology and your products to Ukraine via associations. Will help you to enter the market, find the right partner, and be part of this reconstruction, because we want to help business from that country that help Ukraine during the war. So this is like our mission, and we will do a lot, to make it happen. And then other things, we still have strong base of IT and mathematicians. So we have jokes that Ukrainians have strong mathematicians. That's why we have a lot of IT business in Ukraine, and the Russians have strong physics. That's why they have a lot of bombs. Yes, they not so good in terms of how they can enter this or that target, but they still produce them a lot. And it's also potential, what we discussed, that we could build this bridge of cross-country collaboration for students, just to, it's like question of workforce development and human capital development for both countries. So it's interesting when you work in different countries, you have more wide mindset, and you can bring some innovation to your country and from your country to another country. And I think this is good also for, grow your business. And what else? We still are not in EU, but we're in the road to EU. It's also plus and minus. Plus, we don't have such tough regulations that you have. So, and it's give more flexibility in terms of doing business and starting MVP in Ukraine. And to finalize, starting August this year, we implement open banking in Ukraine. It means that if you have solution based on open API and open banking philosophy, welcome to Ukraine, because it's like markets that opened and nothing exists at the market at the moment. So it gives huge potential for commercial IP and commercial business model in open banking world. So I think this is like, for start, is enough. And I pass the micro to...
Thank you, Rostyslav. And now over to Jacek Figula from Poland. And is Poland ready to enter the Ukrainian fintech market?
Look, first of all, thank you for the invitation, for having me here. I must say that I admire the way you moderate all of these panels. I've been listening to all of them, and you do a great job. On this topic, as a matter of introduction, what I do, I co-create a company in Poland, which is the only, so far, e-money institution, so licensed company since 2019. This is when we have a license for e-money issuance, any European currency. Unfortunately, hryvnia is not included in our batch. In 2021, we've started to operate this system based on the DLT, or the distributed ledger or blockchain. And we started to implement this in a B2B space. As it has been said earlier this morning, MiCA has come into force in Europe in December last year, 2024, which allowed companies like us to open this platform to a public blockchain infrastructure. And of course, it allowed a new company like VASP providers or other companies to apply, as it was just said before, to a CASP license or similar licenses under MiCA. So this is, in my view, a hyper opportunity because this creates or this eliminates so many different barriers that have been created by the borders of Europe, and not only Europe. If we imagine the world that has a open blockchain-based payment system, then in my view, many things making business will be much simpler. Okay, but let me start a little bit on the personal note, because I remember very well the 22nd of February 2022 when this war has started, and I remember very well in my small village out of Kraków when I was there. I basically has been approached by one of the person of the local government asking how can we help so many people coming into Poland. And the village that I live in is a village of roughly about 3,000 people, and we had 800 people coming into this very village. So you can imagine the scale and the need of supporting them in this disaster. So I'm saying this because just to say that this has not been in our history so much of the integration between these nations, and I believe this happens very similar between Ukraine and Slovakia, and Ukraine and the other countries that Ukraine borders with. So this has not only created the opportunity overall, but specifically in the talent exchange. In my company that I co-create with two other colleagues, this is a company of 25 people roughly today. We have 3 Ukrainians, and obviously we work remotely, and they are super talented people and motivated people, and they are very well connected to the ecosystem that you've just described before. Just joking a little bit, we speak obviously English and Python, but also we speak Solidity, as this is the language of the smart contract, which is actually the language of the stablecoin. So maybe to close off this entry briefly, I believe that the first step in facilitating the exchange of business and money and exchange of information is to make sure that this trust that has started to be built between these nations continues on the IT layer. And I want to make a segue to a European regulation, which is called eIDAS. It's actually a 2.0 version of this eIDAS. And in the preparation for this panel, I looked at what Diia is doing as an application. So obviously every country in Europe has its own application, which is differently called in different countries, but more or less serves the same thing. One of them, well, one is more advanced, another one is less advanced. but Poland and Diia has already integrated. Okay, so Poland has its application called Mobile Citizen, and when you open Mobile Citizen, you have basically three choices. You can download Diia, you can download the proper Polish citizenship application, and you can download a Polish citizenship for junior. So it already has been integrated. Now, if Europe goes into this eIDAS 2.0, and we all know that this model is pretty advanced model and challenging model as well, including features like self-sovereign identity for identity management. Now the trust on this technological layer is super fundamental, okay? Because once we establish this identity trust, which will be passed through a self-sovereign sign-up and self-sovereign solution like the European wallet with integrating the Ukraine, then this will open so many businesses, and not only for money exchange, but also for documents exchange, data custody, contract signature, digital signature, etc. So that is, in my view, a first step for the integration and the rebuild in an invitation, Ukrainian people and Ukrainian companies to Europe, and European people and companies to Ukraine.
Very strong start from all our three panelists. I will move on with the big, broad questions. How to move from talk to action. CE is called the architect of rebuilding, and how can we move from a fragmented bilateral support to more coordinated regional platform for technology and investment? What will be the practical first steps? This question I will give both to Rostyslav and to Jacek.
So I may start on this one, because this is not a super question, and thank you for this one. I take it as a two-layer question. One layer is the legal question or legal regulatory question. So in my field, it is super important that we have a legal ground, as I said, well set and well understood and well implemented. As I said, in Poland, we are the only company that is allowed to mint national currencies or European national currencies, including Polish zloty. Now we would love to have an opportunity to also be able to partner with someone in Ukraine in order to mint the national currency of Ukraine. Why is that so? This is super important for the schemes like delivery versus payment, like reliability of transfers, cross-border transfers, eliminating of fraud, and I think you, Illya, mentioned about high rank of adoption of cryptocurrencies and stablecoin in Ukraine. Then this is great. Now, in order to transfer this crypto into the traditional finance is not an easy task. There is a major challenge with that. So once we would have this legal ground to allow this transition, so to build a bridge between this well-adopted DeFi into the traditional finance, this would allow the traditional trade to happen much easier. And now also on this, if we only want to stay within this crypto space, this is also a fundamental benefit to everybody. If we have this legal ground established and the technology integrated, then we could demonstrate to other countries how easy it would be to let's say custody or to protect and to invest in different assets. I mean here these assets which are called real value asset, and under the European regulation it is called asset real tokens. Okay, so you mentioned, Illya, about this tokenization projects that are happening. Of course, there are lots of different pilots in Europe. I haven't heard about anything which is live in Europe because it's pretty new as a matter of regulatory. So here Ukraine can be put as an example of the early innovator in this space and transitioning to European tokenization projects.
And now Rostyslav,
Yeah,
please.
I will reflect. So this is a great idea, and we will help you to find the right partner in Ukraine to do the Ukrainian stablecoin. It's still some legal issues under the regulations that need to be fixed, but in terms of sandbox, we could start to test this idea based on this regulatory sandbox that we have in Ukraine. And crypto is like separate space, and I agree to split it. So Ukraine start to thinking how to implement the crypto legislation, and we as association lobbying to have the Ukrainian version of MiCA, just it'll be easy to enter the EU in terms of we will have the same legislation. We still observe how it's do the evolution of this MiCA in Europe, because we think it's still a little bit different in different countries, and it's like challenge what's the right version of MiCA we need to adopt. Maybe MiCA 2.0 will be the final version of it. And second, very practical things, it's just have delegation to come and discuss and do the network, because people make business, and this connection in person is a new luxury in our digital world. So we have some issues like war, but we know how to live with it if you're brave enough or you need some adrenaline. Welcome to Ukraine. So we will do all the recommendation in terms of safety and how to come back to your country alive. And we'll have a big conference in December. So normally before the war, it was the biggest fintech event in Eastern Europe, up to 3,000 people. Before the war it was, and now we are limited to 600 and -2 floor in shelter, and we can provide this conference even if the city under the rocket attack. So all these ballistic rockets can't hit this building. So it's a joke, but it's like really situation in terms of safety. So you are welcome. We will give free tickets for David to enter this conference, and we'll be happy to see if somebody wants to come.
Ukrainian resilience is fantastic, and I'm so wonderful to hear that business goes on, life goes on, and as normal as possible. It's so great to see the resilience.
I can share some numbers. So we as association monitoring all the sub-industries that we have. So when the war started, the digital lending dropped to 0%. So it was switched off, and in half a year it's recovered half. In 1 year, the digital lending industry recovered 100% before the war. So the payment industry was dropped up to 80% the first half year of the war, and then start to slowly recover to the end of the year, the full recovery that it was.
Now we're going to talk about the now, investment questions. Basically, we talk lots about physical safety, but let's speak about financial safety. And is it a time to invest in Ukraine now? For investors, and why not donors? Why not investors and donors in our audience? What is the most immediate impactful fintech opportunity in Ukraine? Is there enough transparency? Can tools in the future, maybe used already, like AI, help with transparency? Or should we invest more in long-term assets and use AI and tokenization and blockchains for transparency and follow-up to mitigate the risks, for example, in real estate tokenization in Ukraine today?
Yeah.
Is it time to invest now? The risk is high, obviously, but so is the potential.
So I will start, and colleagues maybe continue with ideas with blockchain or whatever. So I think it's good time. Ukrainian fintech, it's pretty young sub-industry. So we start monitoring 2018 and measure the market from that period until now. So when we do the evaluation of the market 2018, it was the whole market cost $30 million. It's like peanuts for today monies. And now the whole market is evaluated more than $1.5 billion in these 7 years. And last week we have first Ukrainian fintech unicorn. It's like Monobank, who provides this Neobank, and Neobank is a platform for different banks. So this is like first point. Second point, Ukraine don't have clear this exchange regulation and venture capital regulation. So it gives some flexibility and some constraints. But if you have big willingness, you can work with this. Third one, this lack of venture capital inside the country gives this opportunity, to invest with small tickets. And third one, it's more about the problem, and it's an opportunity in the same time. So Ukraine don't have the war insurance. So a lot of investors are afraid of war insurance as it don't exist at the market because it's hard to think how crazy are Russians. And this has stopped some investors. But when we back to crypto market, so we joke that, this frequency of exchange rates and inside the crypto markets are more crazy than potential disaster from the war. And we think that bringing some crypto regulation to Ukraine will give potential for this crypto investor to come to Ukraine because their risk appetite is much higher than appetite to the war insurance. And I think this is a unique situation that we could manage. And in this, I hope, positive things, I will pass the word to colleagues to share their thoughts.
We continue with Illya. You can make this as a follow-up on your introductory speech.
Thank you very much, Rostyslav. That was very, very valid points you made. Actually wanted to expand a bit more on what I said in my introductory speech. Fortunately or not, fintech is one of those industries which does not operate on physical assets. So in that sense, in terms of security, it has luxury as compared with a physical plant, which can be physically hit by a rocket. It's different with fintech. The regulations, generally speaking, support it. You have all sorts of cloud solutions, and in many cases, even cloud solutions to store your data and process your data outside of Ukraine. So in that sense, the physical security is quite dealt with, I would say, for the fintech industry. For the corporate security and legal protection also, this is one of the most transparent industries. It is highly regulated. It is all digital. All the payments now are processed digitally and monitored online. So it's quite, compared with traditional industries, it's much more difficult to be involved into some shady matters. So in that sense, it's much more secure as well. The state as well pays quite a lot of attention to that and provides a lot of incentives and will guide you through the process. The corporate structures allows it to own from outside of Ukraine, which also provides some additional layer of protection if you want it. So in that sense, the physical security, to wrap up, is quite positive, as positive as it could be during the war for Ukraine.
Good to hear. We move over to Jacek. You grab the microphone. I'm sure you have something important to tell us as a follow-up from the Polish perspective.
I don't know whether important, but I wanted to answer this question, Johan, you asked on the investments. We work with VCs on a daily basis. Our business requires an incremental capital because of the regulatory requirements, etc. One of the business plans we have made is a trade exchange between Ukraine and the European Union. And I must say, unfortunately, VCs don't react to this business to this portion of the business plan too well. We are mainly talking to European VCs, and they basically wait or pray for the end of the war to actually enter this. This is far too risky for them. So whatever we can say, Rostyslav here, or whether this is already the right time or not, in my view, from the VC perspective, is too early to have any optimistic plans on the table.
Is the problem that the risk is too difficult to define, or it's unquantifiable? Is that the main issue?
Well, in our case, with the business that we run with the VCs, there is still a significant demand for growth within the area, which is much more better defined, and the risk is much better quantifiable. So naturally, they are not looking for alternatives, right?
Okay. So, looking at global bridges, what's the single biggest barrier preventing investors from deploying capital and technology today? And not just within Ukraine, but also regarding cross-border transactions, payment systems that can be used within Ukraine, outside Ukraine, and for Ukrainian payments as well as EU payments to, let's say, why not Ukraine, since that's the main topic for today. What are the main barriers and hurdles we have to get over?
I think the main barrier at the moment is synchronization of legislation, because we still live like in our own world. It's very similar to EU legislation, because a lot of new laws was written based on EU like directives. But it's still, if you do some like significant money transfer, you can have the red flags because money go from the war region, and this is need additional checks. So this IML function, sometimes do additional checks because money go from Ukraine because it's war. So this is first. Second one is all this data protection law. So when I was joking that you can enter Ukraine with your MVP more faster than EU because less legislation, but if you go back, it means that you need to follow all this GDPR, DORA, all these like things that I think you love very much in terms of speed of developing the projects and products. And this is like still barrier if you look in terms of Ukraine. And third one is SEPA. We're still not in this payment infrastructure and payment area, but we do a lot just to join it in nearest future, and I hope it will help build more like strained and transparent payment infrastructure that gives us opportunity.
Good you bring it up, because that's a real hurdle. It's difficult to make payments to Ukraine, and it's difficult to receive payments from Ukraine. Personal experience, I was trying to pay some money to Ukraine, and my payments, which are small amounts, been blocked. And it doesn't matter what I explain to my bank. They're not going to unblock it because they just follow some algorithm. And it's a small payment. I'm an unimportant customer. So no human being will ever look at it.
No, I mean, Johan, this is the major problem. We've got such a complex regulations, AML and others. We are a regulated company, and we need to follow those. Just as an example, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, European Commission has passed this sanction number 19. And that is absolutely very hard to implement, but no, we will have to implement them. And these sanctions mean that whenever you have a dual citizenship, European and Belarusian, and European or in Russian citizenship, then you are subject to a specific treatment and screening and sanctions. And this exposes us to challenges, not only dealing with Ukrainian citizens, but also Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and all of these post-Soviet countries. So that is making life very difficult. I understand why it is so, but no, I'm just stating a fact. This is very, very much difficult. And no, to your point, the problem with sending money here and there is not only with Ukraine, but if you deal with Saudi Arabia or the Emirates, and you send money out of there or from there to Europe, the predictability of this flow. I know that we need to wait 2-3 days, but sometimes you wait 2-3 weeks, and the money get blocked, and you investigate why, etc. For business, if this is even worse, that you don't know how long you will have to wait for the money to come, and it is independent of the value of this transfer. If it is low or high, it goes through the specific algorithm, and it will get blocked, and it will wait on the list to be sorted out.
Just one short comment. Ukraine is, however, not famous for being a money laundering paradise. So that's why it's kind of surprising.
Well, adding to that, actually, that's from my perspective, it's not only a technical or legal issue, but it's also a perception issue. Of course, we in Ukraine, we have strict regulations on outflow of money because the government is trying to control financial position of the country and prevent uncontrolled transfer of money from the country during the wartime, which is understood. But this is pretty much regulated and transparent, and we can deal with it. But practically, in terms of even money transfers in Ukraine, there is the perception or educational problem for the banks. Like a couple of days ago, we had the transfer blocked from the US bank to the company of our client, which belonged to one of the largest global tech companies. And the reason for blocking is that they say, okay, but Ukraine is under sanctions. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? And they just, at the level of just regular employees, they didn't even want to dig into detail. They hear something, they have some red lamp somewhere, and they just block it until we had to explain that, yes, indeed, there are some occupied territories of Ukraine, which indeed are subject to all the things, but not mainland Ukraine, which operates perfectly free without any restrictions. So this is something which needs to be dealt with in terms of education and, on the level of financial institutions.
Okay, so what concrete solution or guarantee would you need to make the Ukrainian financial landscape easier to operate for fintechs, as well as ordinary payment providers and banks within Ukraine, as well as in the European Union? What can be done concretely in the short term?
Johan, you're asking extremely difficult questions. I mean, I don't know. When I was preparing,
this is the wish list. It's not.
When I was preparing to this panel, I looked at certain quotes. So there was your quote as the number 1 quote on the need of cooperation, and I would emphasize this one, what you just said on some other conference, that these associations like Fintech Poland, Fintech Ukraine, Fintech Visegrad region should cooperate. There is also a nice set of associations outside of fintech, but adjacent to this market. Like there is a super association called Cyber Made in Poland. Ukraine is one of the top most attacked cyber-wise country. Poland is possibly in European Union number 1 as well, attacked. So there is a lot to share, and there is a lot to cooperate. So in my view, this would be quite a nice starting point. But if you ask broad questions, so the question goes to some politicians that probably know better than I can say here.
Yes, and from the Ukrainian point of view, what would be number 1 on your wish list to make your life within fintech and transactions easier? What would you wish the European Union as well as the Ukrainian politicians would do?
I think this finalizes setup to join the EU will help a lot in terms of synchronize the legislation and all this licensing business, because if you're a financial company, you need to have license in Ukraine and license, for example, in Poland, just to operate in EU. So it means that you have twice to go to this licensing hell. If you'll be part of one, like union,
rights.
passporting will be is a good word for this. So this is first. Second one, during the war, we need to find some solutions for war insurance, because it stopped a lot of businesses, and because not they afraid, because they have this processes written that they need to cover this risk, and no instrument to cover. So this is legal to pick, and we need to find the solution for this. Third one, I think this, what Jacek say, it's what we can do immediately, this collaboration networking under the work of association and such kind of conference to exchange the ideas and connection, etc., it will bootstrap a lot. And I truly believe that this communication and network give more better than politicians with regulations. Because if you want to do something, you find the way how to you will do this, not waiting until the government will think how to write the right law to, you know, to teach you how to do this. So we even start this legal tech stream in our association. We have the right legal companies in Ukraine that help you to onboard to Ukrainian legislation to operate with, and it's worked very well. So it means that, you know, it's could be potential problem, but if you want, it's not a problem.
Very good. We will finish very soon with Illya. He started, so Illya will finish with the final remarks on this interesting panel.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just wanted to reiterate, the panel is named Ukraine After the War, and my key point is to shift a little bit that paradigm that Ukraine should not be seen as a country for the investment after the war, specifically in fintech and industry, which is pretty much alive and promising and provides so many opportunities, much bigger opportunities than in many neighboring countries. So just don't look at it as Ukraine after the war, look at it as Ukraine now.
Thank you very much. And I don't know about you, but I'm admiring Ukrainian resilience, and they're looking forward to a bright future. There's for sure lots of fighting spirit. And I'm not talking about the war necessarily, but also in the financial service sector and the fintech sector and business as usual sector, which I think is what I really like, business as usual. And there's an Arab proverb saying that no wall is so high that a donkey carrying gold cannot get over it. So even though there are barriers doing business, potential is high, and I hope to see more European business entering Ukraine and more Ukrainian business entering the European Union, and eventually Ukraine entering the European Union as well. These are my final remarks, and I would like to thank Illya, Rostyslav, and Jacek for a great panel that was very interesting. Thank you very much.